If you're a regular skincare user in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, you're probably noticing the signs of aging of the skin, especially on the forearms. The forearms are the worst. They show signs of wrinkling, parchment paper-like changes, flakiness and dryness, chalkiness or ashiness, and not to mention the dreaded bruises that you might be seeing, initially appearing upon mild trauma that never used to affect you like that, and eventually just showing up out of thin air without any provocation whatsoever. This puts you in the hot seat. You may be embarrassed about these bruises and about those changes. You may have to explain to people that you really didn't do anything, it just happened, and on we go. The bruising specifically is called senile or actinic purpura, a rather unflattering name for a very unfortunate phenomenon. Most people end up being stuck with this issue, not really knowing which way to turn, often resorting to doing nothing, or worse yet, using some expensive anti-aging product that essentially gets them nowhere. I'm Dr. Yuval, Bibi, dermatologist. My mission in life is to empower you to finally take charge back of your skin, so your skin can finally work for you as it was meant to do, rather than you working for the skincare industry. In this video, I'll break down what is senile purpura and give you the keys to the kingdom on how to finally turn this thing around, or at least make a dent in what is happening so that your skin can look great, younger, less wrinkly, and with less bruising. So what is senile purpura and why does it happen? Senile purpura is the result of thinning of the skin on multiple levels, including the blood vessels which line the skin and the tissue surrounding the skin, which makes for very fragile blood vessels. The matrix around those blood vessels doesn't provide as much support anymore as it does in younger skin, and the lining, the walls of the blood vessels themselves, become thinner as well, which makes it more likely for them to rupture, at first with mild trauma and eventually with no trauma at all, just upon moving the arm in the wrong direction. That is very debilitating. Now, why does senile purpura happen? Well, first of all, the skin does become thinner with age. The collagen and elastin content of the skin does diminish with time, with the skin's diminished ability to produce these elements and hold on to them. And there's some damage, obviously, that does decrease the collagen and elastin content in the skin and the skin's ability to produce these proteins and hold on to them as well. Collagen and elastin give the skin its plump and elasticity, and with less of those, the skin becomes less resilient or weaker, and this makes the skin more likely to bruise or tear. Blood thinners, including aspirin, can actually make the blood clot less well than it naturally can, and that makes for more opportunities for bleeding and bruising. Medications such as statins can worsen matters by drying up the skin, adding to a low-grade inflammation, which can lead to faster collagen turnover with less collagen content remaining in the skin. Now, if you've stayed with me so far, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, well, those are things I can't control. I can't be younger, I can't reverse my sun damage, and I can't stop taking my medications, correct? That is absolutely right. You can't do any one of these things, and in fact, I don't recommend stopping any medications on your own without discussing with your physician. Plus, if you stop these medications, you're not guaranteed to make a huge dent in what you're experiencing, so I'd say put a hold on that. Most people don't even consider skincare at all. They live under the assumption, the unspoken assumption, that they must do some sort of skincare, especially cleansing, as in the use of water, some form of a detergent, a soap, or a cleanser, a shower gel, a body wash, followed by exfoliation, a scrubbing device of sorts. Especially with dry skin, especially with old dry skin, most people tend to exfoliate thinking they're making matters better for themselves. That assumption is wrong. The skin creates its upper layers as working parts. That means that those upper layers of the skin, which are the target of cleansing practices, are part of the structure of the skin, the natural structure of the skin, and they are very important as forming the barrier of the skin, or the skin barrier, protecting the skin and allowing it to stay intact and in working order. Stripping those layers away, as in done in cleansing, certainly creates damage and makes the skin more sensitive, as in thinner. Thinner skin means older looking skin, and especially if your skin is struggling already with being thin, you're making matters worse by cleansing it, as in using hot water, using any sort of detergent, and to boot, if you're exfoliating, you are making matters worse. Another element which is in widespread use are water-based moisturizers. Those are the lotions and the creams of the world, and actually many of the balms out there are also water-based. Now, water-based products must contain two categories of ingredients. One is that they must contain preservatives. Why is that? Water-based products form a growth medium for microbial life, and that means that they can easily get contaminated and grow potentially dangerous microorganisms, which necessitates the addition of preservatives. Preservatives, in turn, may damage the microbiome of your own skin and may lead to irritation of the skin. The second category of ingredients, which all water-based products must contain, are emulsifiers. Emulsifiers essentially bring the product together to make it a nice lotiony or a creamy texture and make it more pleasurable to apply. So they're essentially product stabilizers. Emulsifiers, unfortunately, also act as detergents or surfactants, and that means that they disrupt lipid layers, which make the upper layers of the skin more sturdy, giving it some of that water-resistant nature, and also may disrupt cellular membranes, which make up the skin barrier. So the very basic routine that everybody seems to be using, including hot water, some sort of a detergent, an exfoliant, followed by water-based moisturizers, may very well be a very important and significant factor in thinning down the skin, making matters worse for you. Now, most people using skincare either don't consider why they're doing it, or they strongly believe that they must use skincare to cleanse the skin. And the skincare industry makes sure that people hold on to that belief by problematizing elements that are part of the upper layers of the skin or making up matters that are not there. Specifically, we're talking about dead skin cells or dirt that are very common jargon in skincare promotional material, followed by bacteria or oils that are problematized as well. Now, all these elements are actually essential parts of the makeup of the skin. The microbes are part of the microbiome, which works hand in hand with the skin to harmonize and continue the normal function of the skin. And then the oils are, again, part of the skin barrier. They give the skin its sturdy structure, its waterproof structure, and also make up cell membranes, which are essential to the function of the skin. So the assumption that cleansing has some sort of a fundamental categorical benefit to skin and human health is essentially wrong. It is by default damaging to the skin. It does make the skin weaker and thinner immediately upon use, and with enough persistence may actually create a chronic issue, which can make matters worse, especially if you're already struggling with thin, sensitive skin, such as the case in aging skin. In the case of old skin specifically, the skin is essentially made older by cleansing because it gets to hold on to less ingredients that make it younger, as in the oils that make it nice and plump and other ingredients that give it its strength, not to mention potentially setting off low-grade inflammation, which could increase the turnover of collagen and elastin, which also give the skin its plump. So all these cleansing practices essentially land you in very dry land and make your situation worse as your skin ages. So what can you do? The answer is easier than you think. First, restrict your cleansing practices. How do you do that? Well, first of all, I recommend using lukewarm rather than hot water. That immediately takes down the abrasive nature of your cleansing practices down a few notches and makes it for a much nicer environment for your skin to continue to hold on to what it makes. Second, restrict the cleansing to those must-clean areas, such as the body odor-producing areas, meaning under the skin folds, under the armpits, groin, maybe the gluteal crease, otherwise known as the butt crack, but do not use detergents on the arms or on the legs or on the torso for that matter, or on the face. All these areas do not benefit from cleansing in the way that you think that they do. Also, avoid scrubbing at all costs, as in avoid physical abrasion of the skin. Avoid the loofahs, the brushes, the washcloths, the exfoliating gloves, the sponges, the scrunchies. Avoid doing this with your hand, the circular motion, or this with the hand, rubbing vigorously over the skin, now knowing full and well that you're damaging the skin by those very actions. Again, you must realize all these cleansing practices, despite your very strong belief that they're somehow benefiting you, are completely useless to you. In fact, they're only creating damage with nothing to show for except for dry, sensitive, and eventually bruisey skin. Now, when you get out of the shower, pat yourself dry with the towel. Use a soft material and smooth surface towel, such as the waffle towel. Pat yourself dry gently on the skin. Do not rub your skin, as that may add another physical abrasive practice to your skincare routine. When it comes time to moisturize, moisturize with exceptional occlusive moisturizers. Get rid of the lotions, the creams, the water-based products, even get rid of most of those oil-based products. Anything that has ingredients that you can't really pronounce or understand what they're doing in that concoction, you have to lose. Get those moisturizers that have 3 or less ingredients, such as Butter Oasis Moisturizing Balm or Butter Blossom Moisturizing Balm, that were specifically designed for dry, sensitive skin to afford you the most occlusive benefit while completely getting rid of all those extras which could potentially harm your skin. Petroleum jelly oil having some issues is a sound alternative. Just watch the amounts. Give this a chance. And remember, your skin is tired. It's been through a lot. It's been through likely decades of persistent abuse of its upper layers and may have suffered quite a bit of loss of its natural ability to recreate what was lost in the process. So you need to give this some time. But with enough persistence on your part, you will soon start reaping the rewards. It'll likely take weeks to start turning around, though you may notice some differences within days. So what are you looking for? Well, initially you're looking for a decrease in that ashy, chalky, or dry, flaky, cracky look of the skin. So that is the immediate response that you will be seeing when you are using this approach, meaning not taking away from the skin, which it's producing to protect itself, not to mention being covered with an occlusive oil-based moisturizer. You'll start noticing that the skin looks nice and shiny. Now, within a few weeks of persistent use of this approach, you'll start noticing that your bruises are diminishing and you're a lot less likely to bruise. And over a longer period of time, you may actually see the skin becoming nicer and plumper as your skin will regain some of the contents that it lost over the years, not being able to hold on to those collagen and elastin fibers. In essence, you'll start noticing that your skin does look younger, but in fact, it is not looking younger. It is actually looking its age, as it was looking older than it should before you turned around and started using this new approach. You were making it older by using abrasive skincare and moisturizing poorly, and now you're not using any abrasive skincare to speak of, and you're moisturizing properly to allow the skin to recover under that protective blanket of the occlusive moisturizers that we recommended. Give this a try and let me know in the comment section how you turned your old skin around and made it look younger than it was. Also, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe for more No BS skincare advice. See you next time. God bless.